here we are trying to understand the basic concept of the Vedanta Sutra, like how different Vedanta Sutric words can be understood by like how Vedavyas has written. So one of the things that we understand is that many times we think that just the Vedanta Sutra has all the verses are independent of each other; they're not having a connection. But I was just thinking how actually Vedavyas, as a very gentle grandfather, has actually connected the verses, and actually he's trying to give us an entire understanding. So sometimes we think that it's a mnemonic hook, actually, Vedanta Sutra. It's trying to actually get us to a particular part of the Upanishad. Like, for example, if you say Janmadhyasya, so then which part of the Upanishad talks about Janmadhyasya? So things like that. So if it's a mnemonic hook, then each and every part of the Vedanta Sutra, every word is a different kind of meaning. There is no connection. It's not like a book, like Srimad Bhagavatam or some like Bhagavad Gita. There is no connection, link. Each word is a different meaning by itself. But here we can understand Vedanta Sutra in a different way. We can understand the Vedanta Sutra in a way in which we feel that actually Vedavyas has actually given us guidance as to how to understand the Vedas. So how do we understand the Vedic scriptures? There are hundreds of Vedic scriptures, and there are so many contradictions in the Vedic scriptures. So how are we supposed to reconcile all the contradictions of the various Vedic scriptures and come up to really understand the real tattva behind the Vedic scriptures? So Vedanta Sutra guides us. It's a guidebook which tells us how the Vedas are supposed to be understood. So if you see the first verse of the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadi Yasya Yataha. So this is maybe slightly different from the perspective of different what the generally understood concept is. I am trying to understand it in my own realizations. So I feel that this particular verse, Janmadhyasya Yataha, first of all, we understand that the Lord has three aspects: the Brahman aspect, which is his body. We can understand the Lord through his body, his mind, and his emotions. Every person has three things: his body, his mind, and emotions. Now, the body of the Lord is the entire existence. All of existence is the body of the Lord. His mind is the mind of the entire creation. Like whatever living four entities are there in this universe, that is his mind, basically, his Shakti, the Chit Shakti of the Lord, or the Samvit Shakti of the Lord. And basically his emotions are the entire pleasure potencies experienced by all living entities who are living in this universe. So the three Shaktis, Sandhini, Samvit, and Ladini, who are personalities themselves, actually are also form through the various manifestations the whole universe itself. So that's one of the things. So now the first step of understanding a person is to understand his body. Just you understand a person's body. First you look at the person, you see his body, and then when you go deeper into understanding the person, you go to his mind, and then to his basically emotions. So basically, if you see the three processes of devotional service, the first thing is to understand the body, that is Brahma Jyoti. Athatho Brahma Jigyasa means let us start by understanding Krishna's body. Let us start by understanding Krishna's body. So that is what it is. So one of the hints that Vedavyas ji is giving here in this particular verse of the Vedanta Sutra is that the beginning part is Brahman understanding. It is not the end. The end part is actually understanding the Bhagavan aspect of the Lord. So the initial part is the Brahman understanding. So athato, let us begin by understanding the body of the Supreme Personality. So the hint here is the beginning part of any spiritual realization starts with the understanding of the Sambandha Tattva, the basic structure. The Sambandha Tattva is like, what is my connection? What is my connection to the Lord? And that is basically the Sandhini Shakti, and that is basically the connective thing, the basic Sambandha. The whole idea of Sambandha is connecting our existence. I am a part and parcel. Existentially, I am my part, my body, everything is a part and parcel of the Lord. So that knowledge is basically the Sambandha Tattva, and that part is the beginning part of all spiritual realization, and that is Athatho. Let us begin by understanding the Sambandha, and that is Brahma. Actually, because Brahman is the body of the Lord, and that's how we begin, by understanding the body. And then the yogis, they meditate and understand the Chit, or the Chit realization, Sat and Chit realization. So because you have to have a mind, you need to have the body. There's no doubt. And if you have emotions, then all three should be there. Yatra Trisargo Amrisha. All three energies should be there when basically Radharani is present, or when Ladini Shakti is present, or when the emotions are present to the fullest extent. So now when we understand the first verse, first hint that is given by Vedavyas ji is that atho, let us begin, and Brahma Jigyasa. So definitely we know that that is the Srimad Bhagavatam Satyam Param Dhimahi, that is meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is somewhat a correlation to this verse. And this is the first verse. Now he says, if you want to understand who is Brahman, who is the Supreme Lord, so that is of course a Sandhini definition of Brahman, that Janmad Yasya Yataha, from which the whole universe and everything, whatever we know about, has come about. Whatever is there in existence has come about. So that's come from the body of the Lord, basically. So Janmad Yasya Yataha, from which, and because Sandhini is also the mother of both Ladini and Samvits, she is also Sadaiva Saumya. That verse also explains that Ekam eva advitiyam means actually Sandhini Shakti is actually just like the mother, and the Ladini and the Samvit Shakti is they when they finish their work they go and sleep with their mother, like just like Sattva and Rajaguna in the Pradhana state, they go and take rest in the Pradhana or in the Sattva Guna. In Shuddha Sattva, both of the Rajoguna and Tamaguna are sleeping at the time, and then they come out and then they do the work. So both of them are children of Sandhini itself. So when you say Janmad Yasya, even the mind of the Lord and also the emotions of the Lord, both of these things are emanating, everything is emanating from the body of the Lord in one sense. So the base core, just like we have a hardware, without a hardware, how can we have software? There is no question of, like in a computer, we should have a hardware to have a software. The hardware is Sandhini Shakti, from which entire universe, everything is coming out basically. So that is the hardware part. And then there is the software, the operating system, that is Samvit, without which the life of which gives life basically to the hardware, the operating system, the electricity itself. So without the electrical energy, the computer cannot work. So the electrical energy, which actually also forms as the basic operating system, and the electrical energy. So that part itself is the Samvit Shakti. And the final thing that is playing inside the computer, the beautiful video player, the dramas, the things that are coming out of the computer, like if there is a Krishna Leela going on. So the final thing, that is the emotion that is coming out of the computer. That is Ladini Shakti. So if you say that all three have to be there, basically the basic structure is Sandhini. So when you say Janmad Yasya Yataha, from which everything, all the universes, everything is coming out, including this Ladini and Samvit also is included in that. When you say Janmad Yasya Yataha. So although it is referring to the body of the Lord, because from the body only comes the mind, and from the mind the emotions, everything. Of course, they are separate energy. They are three separate energies, but the Sandhini is the base core structure. Without body, you cannot, without existence itself, you cannot have any kind of life force, and you cannot have any kind of emotions. And without life force, you cannot have emotions. And finally, emotions is the one, the final layer on top of the underlying layers are Sandhini and Samvit, and then the final layer is Ladini, the emotions. So if you have a person, first the person has to exist, then he has to have life or knowledge, and he has to have coherent interactions. He has to have a brain, and that is Samvit. And then finally that person has to have emotions. So that's one of the parts that we are talking about. And so Janmad Yasya Yataha, so that from which the whole universe, everything is coming out, that is Brahman. So for now, the connection between first and second verse is, let us start by understanding the Lord's body. And what is the Lord's body? That's from which everything is coming out. Then how do you understand the Lord's body? Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So how do you do the Jigyasa part? So that is Shastra Yonitvat. So that is the third part of the Brahma Jyoti. The second part of the, so basically the second part which says that Janmad Yasya Yataha, so that is also corresponding with the our Srimad Bhagavatam, Janmad Yasya Yathonvaya Dhitaratas, the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and also it's corresponding to, these are the Acharya's commentary, so it's not my commentary, so it's corresponding to the first verse. And what is the answer to that first verse? Janmad Yasya Yataha, that is Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam, that is the potency of the Lord and the abode of the Lord and everything related to the Lord, and Satyam Param Dhimahi. So that is the answer for the Janmad Yasya Yataha. So at this point, Vedavyasji, so the whole idea of this exercise is to understand how Vedavyasji is very beautifully, his divine grace, Vedavyasji, is actually connecting each verse and guiding us how to understand this Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this part, Vedavyasji is actually telling us that the Lord's body basically is the source of everything. So now for the first verse is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So what is the Jigyasa? How do you understand Brahman? So what is Brahman? Janmad Yasya. And what is Jigyasa? how do you understand about the Lord? So that through Shastra Yonitvat. So the Shastra is the yoni or the womb from which you understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only from the Shastra you can understand the Lord. But how do you understand the Shastra? Can you understand it like that only? Just by reading the Shastra, just by becoming a scholar of the Shastras? No, you cannot understand it by reading the Shastra. But then how do you? He says, Tat tu, that, however, tu means but. So it's a connection between the previous verse and this verse. So if you are saying the Shastra is the source, but that, Samanvaya is a junction, co-junction. Junction is sama. We always call sam mein aa jao. Sam is a junction, and Anvayad means direct junction, direct conjunction. You have to understand direct conjunction. And the next verse even explains how to understand that. That is ikshate na ashabdhan. Na ashabdhan means shabdhan, basically. Ikshate shabdhan. Ikshate shabdhan, basically you have to look, you have to literally, you have to see those things. You have to see means realization, realization. You have to see that. So this understanding the Shastra, sama anvaya, direct and conjunction and seeing. So what is happening? That the samvid shakti, of course there is a hint, sam anvayad means samvid shakti of the Lord should guide you by that, because you should have that that somehow your guru or through your relationship with this Lord's energy, she should reveal these things to you, and this energy of the Lord, the knowledge potency of the Lord Krishna, which is samvid shakti, and through direct contact with this samvid shakti of Lord Krishna, sam anvayad, direct contact with samvid shakti, you can see ikshaya na ashabdhan. Na ashabdhan means shabdhan. You can see the words of the scriptures, basically, through the samvid shakti of Lord Krishna. So what he is saying is that the realization has come from the heart. It has to come from the heart. It cannot come by heart. So you don't matter how much you know the Sanskrit or how much you know things by heart, it's not going to work. It's Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavai, Tene Prabhupada Hridaya Adi Kavai. The same person who has revealed the knowledge to Brahma, he has also revealed the knowledge to Prabhupada. And that's why these books written by Prabhupada are extraordinary things. These are not like, these are written by Krishna himself through the heart of the, this is Aupurusha actually. So this is how we can see the connection between each and every verse, and then onwards, of course, now from the Srimad Bhagavatam, you can see the first 5 verses. Basically, if you see Ikshate na Ashabdhan, so Ikshate means the seer, and he is not Ashabdhan, so he is not a dead matter. The seer is alive, and that is Abhigya Swarat of the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Samanvayattu Samanvayat, so the complete understanding. So that comes basically Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavi, only through the Lord when he can reveal this knowledge, and nobody else can reveal this potency of the Lord has to reveal the knowledge. And this same potency bewilders also the Muyanti et Suraya, also bewilders people who are not favorable to the Lord, or people who are not qualified to hear this knowledge. So this knowledge is basically hidden in all the scriptures and stuff like that. So basically the understanding is that all the verses of the Vedanta Sutra are guiding us. How do you understand the Lord? Through the scriptures. And who is the Lord from which everybody has come? What is the beginning point? It's to understand the body of the Lord. So all of these things are connected. All the Vedanta Sutras connected. So just like now we were just seeing another example of this is 2.14. So here we have heard always that Srila Prabhupada also explains us so many times that the Lord, many times in Shastra the Lord is described as Arupam, or he is described as the sun, and we are described as a spark. And sometimes Mayavadis use this sun spark example like, Ghata Akash, Fata Akash example, by which they say that we are reflections of Pratibimba theory. And Jiva Goswami in his Tattva Sandarbha also quotes this verse 2.19 Ambudva, this part, and he says that how actually we are by all these other theories, of course firstly logically defeats those theories of the Mayavadis who say that Shastra also says that Lord is like sun, we are like spark, or the Lord is like the full sky and we are like just like a part of the sky. So then what is wrong in our theory of the pot and Maya being the upadhis and we being the living entities and being a part of Brahman? So first he logically defeats them, and then he says that final defeat point will come when we understand, when they will still quote that ultimately even though we are logically illogical, so Mayavadi will say we are illogical, but Shastra is achintya. It is also illogical. So even though logically you are defeated as Jiva Goswami, but still, Shastra is achintya. And Shastra says that the Lord has got he's like the sun and we are like the spark, and he's Arupam, and things like that. These words are there in the Upanishads. So still it may be that although our theory makes no logical sense, but because it is Shastra, we should accept it. And we are so in that sense, he says that we should understand Vedanta Sutra, Vedavyas. He says how you should understand the various contradicting part of the Vedas. So when they say the Lord is Arupam, what does it mean? So here Vedavyas beautifully in his 2.14, 15, 16, 17 and 18 and 19, which is 18, 19 is quoted by Jiva Goswami, but we'll go from 14, 15, 16 and 17, where Vedavyas is beautifully explaining how you have to understand these part of the scriptures. So these part of the scriptures should not be understood in the way Mayavadis understand them. You should understand how in the way the devotees or Srila Prabhupada has explained. That is what Vedavyas is saying. So by quoting this thing, Jiva Goswami destroys all the arguments of the Mayavadis after this. So here Vedavyas actually directly addresses the problem. He says arupavat eva hi tat pradhanavat. Arupavat eva hi tat pradhanatvat. So please forgive my Sanskrit. So he's saying that arupavat means he is without form. Eva, indeed. He, only because. Only, certainly, indeed, eva he means only because. He is known as, the Lord is in the various scriptures, various Upanishads, the Lord is described as Arupam, only because. Eva he means only because. He, certainly, only certainly because. Tat pradhanatvat, because he is the pradhana element of all the elements from the pradhana Sandhini energy comes. So basically what he is saying, Vedavyas, is that because the Lord's, just like Prabhupada says, the Lord through his unmanifested, through his impersonal energy, he is present everywhere in the universe and he is all pervading. Because the Lord's body is, as I told you, like as we have discussed before, the Brahma Jyoti is the Lord's particular body, and from the body of the Lord the whole universe is coming out. Everything in this universe is coming from the body of the Lord. So if you see the material world also, Sandhini Shakti is basically the Pradhana. One of the modifications of Sandhini Shakti is Pradhana, because Sandhini Shakti creates both the material world and the spiritual world. And of course she as a material cause of the universe, she is present as Pradhana, as a material cause. And as an efficient cause, means like, just like we have a material cause is like the hardware and the efficient cause is like the software. Okay, so the software which runs the hardware as efficient cause, that software she is existing as Sattva, Raja and Tamoguna. Sattva is Sandhini, basically Raja is, as we discussed before in the previous videos, Rajaguna is the Ananda Shakti of Lord, which gives the mode of passion or Ananda, and Tama is the perception energy of Lord, which gives perception, Tanmatras and the Pancha Mahabhutas. So these same energies, they transform into the material counterparts, and that's why, because Krishna is present as in the Sandhini, as a Pradhana, it's his part of his body in the Pradhana, because Pradhana is the basic element from which Ahankara is found, and then later all the transformations of Ahankara, like we have the mind and the sense devatas, we have the intelligence, the prana, and the 5 karmendriyas, 5 gyanendriyas to Rajoguna. And through Tamoguna we have the Pancha Mahabhutras and 5 Tanamatras. So and the 3 modes, including this would be 24 elements. So these 24 elements, all their basic material cause is Pradhana, which is the Lord's body. So that's why, because the Lord is present in all the forms of the universe, that's why he is known as formless. Arupavat, Arupahi, only because he is present as Pradhana or Tat Pradhana, because he is that Pradhana. Because he is that Pradhana, because of that, because him being that Pradhanatvat, because of him being the Pradhana, he is also known as Arupam, or without form. Then next he says that Prakasha Va Chaiva Yarthat means like light. Prakasha Va Eva or Prakasha Va, like light. Moreover, Chaiva also, cha aiva, moreover also, and arthat, the meaning, all parts of the scriptures, wherever the Lord is described as light, so people think that Brahman is like light, there is no form. So it's not like that. So he says that because he is present as the light, because he is compared to the light, because of a similar understanding, that because he's present as the light of the sun, he's present as the energy source of everything. That's why he's known as the light. He's compared to the light. So he says, Vedavyas is saying that anywhere in the Vedas and Upanishad, wherever the Lord is compared to a light, don't think that he's arupa, that he doesn't have form. He has form. Only because his body, the whole universe is coming out, and he's present as a pradhanat element in everywhere. That is why he is also known as arupa, and that's why he's compared to light. So wherever you feel in the scriptures that he's compared to light, it is not a Mayavadi understanding. It is the understanding that the Lord body, because the Lord is present as only because he's present as pradhanatvat, as the chief element. That's why he's compared to light. That's why he's known as arupa. Atha cha tanmatram. Now you know tanmatra. What is tanmatra? The pancha mahabhut. Basically, Krishna says, I am the taste of the water. I am the beauty of the man. So the taste of the water, the smell, basically these are tanmatras, the 5 tanmatras, the sense of taste, the sense of the object of the taste element, the smell element, and the form element, and the basically the ether element, one of the basic structures of the universe, through which the fire and water and earth is later on formed. Through each of, like, from the sense of smell comes the earth, it transforms into the earth, and the sense of taste transforms into water from fire. So fire adds the sense of taste, becomes water. So these tanamatras, he's also, Krishna says, I am the taste of the water, and this and that. It's only because of his being the pradhana element, because ultimately all of these tanamatras are transformations of the perception energy of Lord Krishna, samvit energy, which becomes the tamo guna in the material world. The knowledge energy of Lord becomes ignorance energy in the material world. That which enlightens in the spiritual world covers in the material world. So that covering energy of the Lord, it creates the tanamatras from the pradhana. Basically, from the Mahatattva, the Ahankara layer is formed, and from the Ahankara layer, which is the transformation of Mahatattva and Pradhana, the Tanamatras are formed. And because the Lord is Pradhana itself, material cause of the whole universe, he is also present in Tanmatra. So wherever in the Vedic scriptures and Upanishads, wherever the word Tanmatra is compared, it is not that he is the Tanmatra. It is only because his part of his body is forming the Tanmatra, because of him being the Pradhanatvat, the Pradhana element in the universe. Because the Pradhana is the Sandhini Shakti of Lord Krishna, and because of that he is known as Arupam, he is known as compared to light, he is also compared to Tanmatra. Next shloka is Darshati Chatho api smaryate. Darshati Chatho pi smaryartha. So shows also, and Cha atho, in the same way, declares. For this reason also it is declared. Means basically darshati. So if you see this word, shows, darshati is shown, and declaration is smaryarthe. So all declarations. Then finally he concludes in 2:17 that all declarations anywhere in the Vedas, be it Upanishads, be it Puranas, be it the Bhagavad Gita, anywhere, whatever Vedavyas has written, he has written. So all those books, wherever a particular such kind of an understanding, or darshati is basically something that is shown or understand, ikshate, similar to that, an understanding. So whenever you get this kind of darshan from the scriptures, this kind of an understanding, or this kind of a vision, if it is presented in the scriptures, it is declared in the scriptures anywhere, you have to understand it this way. So don't try to think that the Lord is formless. An aspect of the Lord is his body, and that body creates the universe and pradhana element. And because he is present in the pradhana element, and because of that he is compared to the tanamatras, he is compared to the light, he is compared to arupam. Not because the Lord himself, all the universe is formless, or the ultimate the Lord is formless. An aspect of the Lord is formless. So that is what is being beautifully explained by this. So then we understand how the Vedanta Sutra makes sense. It is giving us understanding, how to understand the Vedas, how to understand the Upanishads, how to read the Upanishads, how to understand the Upanishads. So Vedanta Sutra is all about understanding the Upanishads and the Vedas. This is how you have to understand the Vedas. So the author himself is saying that. So, and that commentary on that is Bhagavatam. So atha eva chopma सूर्य का दैवात, सूर्य का दिव्यत. अतः फॉर दिस रीजन ऑल्सो चोपमा, कंपैरिजन, चोपना, उपमा, छ उपमा. So comparison, also comparison is made like sun, सूर्य का दिव्यत. So just like the sun. So whenever the Lord is also compared to the sun, so how many times Vedavyas is repeating it? See, 10 times or 5, almost 4 times he has repeated. Said the Lord is not formless. Only because he's present as Pradhana, he's compared to the sun, he's compared to Prakash, he's compared to water or whatever. Tanmatra. Basically water is the Tanmatra. The taste of the water. So Tanmatra, everything. So whenever he is compared to Tanmatra, whenever he is compared to, understand, it's only because Sandhini Shakti, not because that his entire existence itself is these things. He has got Samvid and Ladini also. He's an emotional person, Abhigya, Swarat also, and he's got Ladini emotions also. So just a part of his body, Sandhini, creates the universe, and because the part comes from his body, the universe is not like the Lord's body. He's like the Vishwa Atma, the soul of the universe. So just because the universe is coming as a part of his body, an aspect of him, and that's why he's known as formless and a lot of things, other things, because he's there in every form. But that doesn't mean that he becomes exactly the universe. Like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavad Gita, he says in the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam, he says that Yatha Mahanti Bhutani Bhuteshu Chavacheshvanu Pravisthanya Pravisthani Tatha Teshu Na Teshvaham. So he says that although basically I am the whole universe is coming just like Mahanti Bhutani, all the 5 great elements, although they are present everywhere, they are also separately present. It's not that they are just present inside the universe that they lost their existence. So the fire is still separate from the fire that is present everywhere inside the wood, everywhere else. So just like water in a gutter is there, but we don't worship the water in the gutter. We worship the Varuna Dev, who's the personification of water. So a part of Varuna Dev is present also in the gutter also. So everywhere he is present. So in the same way, the Lord is present everywhere, but he doesn't become the matter just by being present in the matter. He is always separate from the matter. Although he says Pravisthanya Pravisthani. I have entered but not entered also. Because he is the source of everything, he is entered. But since the source is also present in the product, but he is also not present inside matter. He is also outside matter. So in that sense, he is also not present inside matter. So in the same way, he is saying, now he will say, Ambhuvad Grahanatha na Tattva Tathat Tattvam. Ambhu Vada Grahana. Please forgive my Sanskrit because I had this verse. I was so excited I didn't bahad the verses. Once I bahad it, it will be fast. But I'm just reading it first. Ambhu Vada Grahana tu na Tattvat. Means Grahana means you should not accept, or you should not accept this understanding. Ambhu Vada, like water. So this understanding that he is like water should not be understood in Tattvat. He is not like in Tattva, he is not water. So don't think that because the Lord is also present as the taste of the water, now all water becomes Lord. Vishnu Tattva is water. No, that is not. In Tattva, Vishnu Tattva is separate from water. So in Tattvat, he is not that particular thing. Although he is the empowering thing from his body, a part of transformation happens and water and Tanmatra and the whole universe, Janmad Yasya comes out. But he is not the universe. It's not that you just worship the universe and after worshipping the universe, it's the same as worshipping the Lord. No. In Tattva, he is separate from the universe. So similarly, when you say that he is a person, he's just like we have a person and we have the person's body. So when some Maharaj is there and he is giving us blessing, we know that its body is different from the Maharaj. But because the body is coming from the soul and because the body is being controlled by the soul of Maharaj, we consider that the body is also like Maharaj. So we think that, this is Maharaj only. So we but we know that Maharaj is separate. It's not that the body is Maharaj. So in the same way, when the universe is the body of the Lord, so whatever is happening in the universe, Vasudevam Sarvamiti, the Lord, the devotee sees that this is all hand of the Lord. In my life also, everything what is happening is because of the hand of the Lord. The whole universe is moving towards me because of the hand of the Lord. Whatever is happening in my life is because Lord is making it happen, because He is the soul and the universe is His body, basically. But He is different from the universe. Just because the universe is very integrated to the Lord doesn't mean the universe is same as the Lord. So he says, although in Tattva, na Tattvat. So the Lord is beyond the universe also. There is so many things. The Lord has got His own emotions. He has got His own world. He has got spiritual world. He has got His emotion, Ladini Shakti. He got Samvit Shakti, and He has got so many other things. And He's got a separate, distinct personality, separate from everything. So a part of the Lord, just a fragment of the Lord, the universe is created. He's like the Mani Sutra Nama, it's a fragment of the Lord. So He's not in Tattva, He is not the universe. So just by thinking that you cannot say that the universe is same as the Lord. So Lord is different. So He says like water, Grahanat. One should not take like na Tattvat. He is not like water. He should not be accepted just like water or Tanmatra. No, because he's separate from this. You should understand that the water, yes, water is Krishna, because ultimately it is coming from Krishna, but you cannot worship the water like Krishna. So that is the difference between understanding. Just like we have Bivamangal Thakur and the prostitute. The prostitute says that, whatever you are feeling towards me is because of the Adi Ras that you are feeling in the spiritual world. So my beauty is a part of Krishna. So you are attracted to Krishna, not to me. So you should be running after Krishna. You should not be running after me. So he says, yes, that's a great thing, because Krishna is present within the prostitute. I'm getting attracted to the prostitute. So this concept that Krishna is present everywhere, and therefore whatever attractive is there in this universe is because Krishna's presence in that thing. Everybody is running towards Krishna. Some people know it, some people don't know it, but everybody is running after Krishna. So this concept, because Krishna is present everywhere, he is the basic attractive principle in the whole universe. Whatever is there in the universe existentially is because of Krishna. So you understand that, then you understand that whenever you see anything, you'll get reminded of Krishna, because it's kind of Krishna's body. But then Krishna is a separate individual also. He's got his own world, he has got his own place, he has got his own things. So So Bivamangal Thakur doesn't say that, Krishna is within the prostitute ultimately, so let me just worship and enjoy the prostitute, and that itself will be satisfying Krishna. No, you have to run separately from Krishna. All the root is present in the leaves. You can't water the leaves. You have to water the root, which is actually empowering the leaves. So when he's saying, like Tattva, it is not there. Don't accept the water, because he's present. He is the cause of the water because of his Sandhini Shakti. He's present inside the water. He's a taste of the water. That doesn't mean that you should worship the water. His tattva is different. He's Vishnu tattva. He's different tattva. He has a different tattva. Although the universe is coming from him, he is not like the universe in tattva. So his tattva is different, basically. So he is separate. That tattva is Krishna, basically. Golok Vrindavan Krishna, the two-handed form of the Lord playing the flute, or a half-handed form of the Lord also playing the flute, like Jagannath Swami. So something like that. So and he explains why it is not. Because he says Vriddhi rasa bhaktvam antar bhava dubhya. So he says Vriddhi rasa bhaktvam manta bhrava dubhya. Bharva dubhyam. I have to write it again. So basically here he's saying that the principles of increase and decrease that is happening in the water, because of being the pradhana doesn't experience the same increase and decrease. In the sense, all the manifestations and whatever is happening, Krishna remains the same. He is not affected by all those things. Just like I said, the water in the gutter is also there, water only. But Varuna Dev is not affected by the gutter water. Or the sunlight also falls on urine, but sun is not affected. Sun is completely unaffected. And just similarly, the gutter water, we don't worship the gutter water. We worship Varuna Dev. We worship the ocean. We worship in a different way, not in some other way. So because the Lord is, so in the same way, the Lord is, although He is present everywhere in all the universe, His tattva is different. Every element in this universe is coming from the Lord, but his tattva of the Lord is different from the element itself. So don't try to worship the element and think that, I will worship the Lord. It's same as worshipping the Lord. That doesn't happen, because when the elements, they are, they undergo so many transformations, but the Lord being the core, the thing that is, empowering the element, that thing itself does not undergo transformation. Because the Lord is beyond transformation. So He doesn't. So when the water goes, it increases in temperature, it decreases, it covers a bigger portion of land, it covers a smaller portion of land. But the underlying principle of water, Krishna, whatever is happening, He is unaffected. He doesn't become big and small. He is just unaffected. He is such a thing that He's empowering. The whole energy is coming through Him. The energy will keep on manifesting in different ways, in different forms and different manifestations in the material world, specifically in the material world. But Krishna's being the pradhanatvat element, He is not affected at all. Just like the molecules of the water, even though it's in the gutter, it's in the urine, whatever, the molecules are never dirty. You see, because the pradhanatvat, they are the core element of the water. The water molecules are never dirty. You can't say they become dirty or they become if they are the same. The size of the atoms of the water, the protons of the water, they are not affected, because they are completely they're not affected because of His being present as the antar bhaiva, because He's present as the innermost antar. Because of Him being present as the pradhana, here they cannot be accepted like water. Brahman being antar principle or dravya principle, because dravya doesn't change. Pradhanatvat, there is a shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam 12th canto, padartha yatha dravyam. Padartha yatha dravyam. So basic the pada is the word, artha is the meaning of the word. So that which gives meaning is padartha. Table is a word, but the table artha that gives meaning is the pada artha, or the ingredient wood of the table that gives meaning to the word table. But within the wood there is dravya principle, or the atomic principle, or the energy quantum physics principle, the quantum physics. So that principle of energy within the wood, that doesn't change. Even though the wood may change its shapes, just like gold earrings may change. Again, in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sridhar Maharaj gives an example of the just like the gold earrings may keep on changing, but the gold itself doesn't change, because it being the dravya principle. Similarly, the Brahman being the antar principle, or the inner principle of all these things. When the water is changing its shape, when the water is becoming dirty, or when the water is becoming like mixed with urine, and all the dirty things are happening, smell is coming out, but the inner principle of water doesn't get affected by all these things. The molecules are not smelly. The molecules don't get contaminated. Nothing. The atoms don't get contaminated, because similarly the dravya principle, which is beyond the atomic principle, which is the basic energy level, quantum principle, that is Krishna's Sandhini Shakti, and that doesn't get affected because it being the at the atomic level, because of being the most inner level. So antar principle, he says here, antar bhava, because he is being present as the dravya principle inside, dravya principle, antar principle. He is particularly, he is equally participates in the increase and the decrease of the water. That means whatever happens to the water, either increase, decrease, or getting contaminated or whatever, he equally participates. He is not affected at all. And that's why his tattva is totally different from the water itself as a tattva. So when you understand the transformation that has happened as water, and Krishna, who is actually water only, but he is different from the water. He is not affected by the water. So it's a very complicated concept by which we can understand how the Lord, through his Sandhini Shakti, is present inside everything, and he is not affected by any of these things. So in Tattva, he is totally different. He is not the same thing as water. So Jiva Goswami here, he actually quotes these things and says that this is how you are supposed to understand all the scriptural references where Krishna is compared to impersonal things like water, tanamatras, or sunlight, or anything. It is only because a part of his Shakti is Sandhini Shakti, and a part of that energy of the Shakti of the Lord is present inside matter. And actually matter completely is that comes from that actually. There is no other thing than the Krishna. So Krishna is the material cause of the whole universe, but he is completely unaffected by any of these causes, because he is the dravya principle within the things. So because he is the inner principle, antar principle, just like molecules are not affected by any of the dirtiness of the water, Krishna is completely not affected. So in tattva he is totally different. He is different from the tattvically, he is different, and we have to worship Krishna and not the water itself, or not the prostitute itself, or not the because he is the beauty of the girl, but we don't go around running after girls thinking that is Krishna. No, that is not Krishna, because although he is empowering, he is the Mani Sutra, from which the whole universe is created. He is the Aham Eva Sam Eva Gre. Everything is coming, and Rithertam Yat Pratiyeta, one who thinks that there is the universe is different, as if the universe has got no connection with the Lord, still it is separately existing. There is nothing like that. That is Maya. Everything is coming from the Lord only, actually. Aham Sarvasya Prabho. So all of these Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita, Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, all of these are explaining this very beautiful concept, or that how the Lord is the universe, but he is not the universe. Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. So this is one of the things that we're thinking about it. It was a very bad presentation, but it's just for my reference so that I don't forget all these things.